Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode. So today what we're going to be playing is Rimworld for the next season, and we needed to create our game settings and get everything set up as we want. So I chose Phobie and Community Builder. I usually go with that particular one for Rimworld, and we also when respawn at any time or whatever that one is. So while trying to find a location to actually build near some friendly factions, I was totally distracted of where we were actually building and what biome. So we ended up building in a jungle, which might be a little bit of a problem, but we'll find out. So I should probably state now that we have ideologies and biotech installed. So this is 2 DLCs for the game. We're basically going to choose our faction, hope for the best, and see how this basically turns out. So hopefully it will go well. After that, we needed to pick our settlers. So I basically went ahead with 3 different people. I tried to balance out their skills a little bit. We are low on construction and mining, but everything else is pretty good. After that, we crash landed on our planet. So we were able to, well, I discovered that we're in a jungle at this point, so which is kind of good, but also disease is a lot more higher. So one of the things that I do once I land on a new planet is I look at where the farms, like the fertile soil is, because that's really where we're going to actually be building, not so much around in other areas. So I'm pretty happy with the location that we actually landed in. I think we have geothermal nearby, and we also have a lot of resources like trees and stuff because we're in a jungle. So we're gonna go ahead and mine out some of the trees here and start building. So we managed to get a simple barracks set up for our settlers. There's just a 3-bed thing, and we're starting to work on a storage room to put some of the perishable items in next, so we can get a little bit of stuff out of the elements. So everything here is going to be temporary. I'm not going to be involving too much into the design of it for this part, but we do need a kitchen, and that's basically what I'm starting to work on. I got them to pull in some of the resources from the river, which will eventually spoil. So one of the reasons why I built in this location is because there's a geothermal vent right next to us. It's that part that keeps spushing out steam. So we'll be able to use the geothermal basically plant to actually get energy in the future. But right now what we need to focus on is the present, and that means getting food for our settlement. So we start planning out a farm here in the good area to basically harvest food from, which is the bright green, if you remember correctly. So Dennis and Morgan ended up getting in a relationship. This didn't last too long because we already built our beds and we didn't have rooms for them to basically share a bed in. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. So we started building a new dining room area. Well, we don't have a dining room area yet, so it's not really new, but it will be new because we don't have one. But yeah, we'll start getting that all set up here and then working on some other projects as well. The game is also complaining that we don't have any defenses, so that usually means that there's going to be some sort of event coming soon. So we're going to place down these barriers, and hopefully we'll have this all built by the time that the event happens. We also put some lights around the actual defense area, and we had a visitor from a friendly faction, though he just kind of hanged around. There wasn't anything we could really do with him, like trade or anything like that. So he's leaving now. We started working on separate bedrooms for these settlers because by this point they were already broken up into a relationship. So yeah, they weren't going to work on that, at least at the time, and later on that changed, but we'll come back to that. And the first event happened. We had a angry rat chasing one of our settlers, so we tried to get them back to the base as soon as possible. I think they were out collecting some resources. I'm not sure where the rat is. I kind of lost track of it, but it's somewhere out here where the settler is. So we're going to get them to Booktail to the defense area. We'll get everyone set up. Someone's already laying there, so that's perfect. And we'll get the other settler in there. And I think I can see it now. It's just right over there. So hopefully we can get it. Yep, we're all good. We're good. So we'll chop that up in our table for get some meat out of it. So after that, the game wanted us to name our faction, which I called Palmtron, and our settlement, which I called Timberville. So we were able to kind of identify our settlement now with that name. After that, we had our first raid. So this is from a Toxfolk, which is like a toxic faction. And yeah, this guy actually does have weapons. They do have AI and stuff like that. So they will try to steal things, beat people up, etc. We did get him though, and he's downed. There was this really nice marble table just sitting out in the middle of nowhere, so I decided to go basically take that marble table and use it for our own settlement. Yeah, there's sometimes like structures and stuff with stuff in them. So once we get the actual chairs built, they'll be able to sit down and eat at their table and stuff like that. But we need recreation or they're going to start going stark crazy, so that's not good. Also, don't mind the body that's just laying there. We got rid of that eventually. We then had a problem with one of those causeways that are in the map here. It's like a jungle thing, but it's been eating our crops, which is very frustrating. So, like all things that basically happen to interfere with our survival, we basically took care of it. So, yeah, we basically shot it, got angry at us, started coming towards us, and then we killed it. So, more food. So while working on our base, our bedrooms are just about ready for completion. We're still got a lot of work to do, but there was somebody that crash landed on our map, somebody from a friendly faction. We took them in, but they are extremely slow and decided to basically leave, but they haven't really ever left. So they're too slow, and then they got frustrated and stressed out, and yeah, it's a whole problem of its own. So we got our first settlement, or new settler, I guess. It's Faye. He's a medieval doctor, it says. So, yeah, we'll accept him in. I have no problem with that. We can always use the extra help as well, so that will help. There has been a few lightning strikes without any rain, so some fires are on the map at the moment, but they did burn themselves out over time. Speaking of fire, we also got Dennis and Tony into their own bedroom, so now they're in a relationship, so that works out. Morgan also got inspiration to tame something, so whatever she can basically tame, we'll be able to bring in. So I immediately set my eyes on this llama, which will help us get some wool over time, which is way easier than producing cotton, so we were able to tame that up and bring it back to our base. Well, I mean, we did eventually bring it back to the base. There was a problem with getting it inside the actual room that I wanted to put it in, so a Wookiee basically dropped from the sky and landed in the swamp nearby. He's part of a hostile faction, so we basically just left him there for his own, I don't know. He wasn't a problem after a while. So sometimes with your maps and stuff like that, when you generate a new world, you also get some ruins that are generated. You can also deconstruct those for some resources. So I'm going after these sandstone ones, so we can basically build out a sandstone. Sandstone actually has quite a few different properties than wood, obviously. It doesn't burn, and it's a lot stronger, so people are less likely to pathfind in through that way. So we can use that to basically design our new base and start working on that next. So overall, we got quite a bit of stuff done, and got a starter base. We got our farm fenced in, so no more of those causeways will be coming and eating our crops. And we started working on a new part where we're going to have our bedrooms and stuff. So that's a great start for our first episode. We have 14 more episodes to do, or pardon me, 12 more episodes after this, so we'll be able to definitely make progress and stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below, rate the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.